Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Yambulance Driver in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "My cousin's mad that I don't want to date her cheater friend." I ran into my cousin and her friend at a party last weekend. I hung out with her friend most of the night and we got along well. She's cute and she asked for my number, so we started texting. Yesterday, I was telling my friend about her and how we were planning a date, and he told me she'd been caught cheating on a boyfriend of hers a couple of years ago. I even reached out to that boyfriend and he confirmed it all. I asked her if this was true and she admitted she'd made a horrible mistake, but that she had grown and reflected. I don't really care though. I lost all interest in her once I knew what she'd done, so I told her it was best we cancel our date plans and look elsewhere. Now my cousin and her friend are trying to convince me that it was a one-time thing and that she's learned her lesson, but I could never be with someone who has ever cheated. It sucks too. I really liked her, but the damage is done. Edit. A few hours after I posted this, I started getting texts from two of my cousin's friends, also trying to convince me that it was no big deal. They were like character witnesses in a courtroom or something. There were lots of claims that she really likes me and that I'm the first guy she's been interested in for years. They claimed she felt so terrible that she stayed single the entire time and has only recently been open to dating, and that I'm going to hurt her badly if I don't give her a chance. I feel bad, but also this is bizarre in an almost funny kind of way. I don't know why they're fighting so hard for this. I'm just some guy she met at a party. I'm pretty average looking. Is there a shortage of tall, hairy, chubby men out there that has women dying of thirst? This is absurd. So for a few days, I entertained my cousin, Leah, the girl who cheated, and a few friends pestering me because I was confused and amused by a bunch of women trying to force me to date someone. I'm not ugly, at least in my opinion, but I am not worth this amount of work to try and win over when I've already said no a dozen times. I sent my cousin the following text, and that seems to have settled the issue. "Hey, I know you guys are just looking out for Leah, but you have to know that dragging this out and pushing me to date her when I don't want to is doing more harm than good for her. You're giving her false hope when I've been very honest with her and you that this isn't happening. Let's assume I do what you ladies want and go out with Leah. Let's even assume I fall for her and we get serious. I will spend the rest of my life with a nagging insecurity in the back of my head that she's going to do the same thing she did to Josh to me. I don't want a relationship where I can't even trust the person I'm with. And as my family, you should love me enough to not want that for me either. Just drop it because I don't want my relationship with you to suffer because of this. Please just respect my wishes and let it go." She replied with, "Understood. End of discussion then. Love you." Leah sent me a text. "I'll respect your wishes on this. If you ever change your mind, know that you're a great guy and I'd still be open to giving us a shot. But this is the last I'll mention it unless you do change your mind." So that's it, it's over. I have no idea why I was being harassed about this, but I'm no longer getting texts about it, so I'm moving on. Now, if I can just find a woman who hasn't cheated or isn't a closet asexual, that would be great. User Dryad Duanath said, "I am so grossed out by people who try to argue you into dating someone, especially when you've already told them no. Why would you want me to be with someone I don't want to be with?" Another Reddit user named I'm a Mage Fight Me said, "It's wild hearing about situations like this where you turn someone down and instead of accepting it, they and their friends just harass you to change your mind. How would that ever work out for someone? How did you two start dating?" "Oh, well, I really didn't want to date her as she had a history of cheating and I am 100% against cheating in any way, shape, or form, but after sending me 100 angry texts, leaving me 3 drunk voicemails, and pounding on my door at 4 a.m., I finally realized that she was the one for me and we eloped the next day." This next story was made in the Surviving Infidelity subreddit by a user named Blast from the Past. The post is titled, "Ex-wife doors back into my life after 6 years. My ex and I met in college and were madly in love all 4 years we were in school. We got married after graduation in 2010. In 2013, I caught her in an affair with a coworker that had lasted over a year. I was crushed. She said they loved each other, that they were soulmates, didn't mean to hurt anyone, blah blah blah. We divorced only 3 months later. I was devastated. It was the worst time of my life. I mourned for over a year. I heard they got married. One day, I decided I was tired of being sad, so I completely let go of her in my heart, got off my butt, and truly moved on. I'm a programmer by profession and decided to take a pre-sales solutions consultant gig with one of the biggest software companies on the planet. That job has been amazing. I've traveled the entire world, every continent, and all the major cities. Life has been a great adventure. I never did date seriously or remarry. I'm not opposed to casual dating and have dated beautiful women all over the globe. After my experience with marriage, I decided that wasn't my path and have been happy. Sometimes I feel lonely, especially during holidays, but overall I'm happy. I had decided I'd had enough traveling for a while, so I switched roles and am now based in a major city in the US. I'm sitting in a diner on a Saturday morning, eating breakfast and reading the news, Facebook, Reddit, etc. when somebody says, "Oh my God." The voice sounded like one of my women friends at work, so I looked up to say hi and my jaw dropped. It was my ex-wife. Here I am, 2,000 plus miles away from our old hometown, haven't seen her in almost 6 years, and there she is. I was dumbstruck. All I could manage was, "Hi." I hate to say it, but she looked beautiful. She said I looked amazing. She asked if I was busy and said she didn't want to bother me, but she'd love to talk. I said sure. We ended up talking for over 2 hours and continued for another couple of hours when we went for a walk in a nearby park. We were making small talk about mutual acquaintances and my stories of traveling the globe, everything but the elephant in the room. She finally asked me if I had gotten remarried at any point. I said no, once was enough. She seemed sad about that. We walked in silence for maybe a minute, and then she said, "I have to say that I'm so sorry for what I did to you. You didn't deserve it. It was incredibly shitty and has haunted me since it happened. You didn't do anything wrong." I said, "You fell in love with someone else and married them. I couldn't stop you from doing that. I wanted you to be happy. Are you happy?" She laughed one of those joke laughs. She told me the other man and she fought constantly, and he ended up cheating on her and leaving her 2 years into their marriage. I said, "I'm sorry that happened to you. I know how bad that can hurt." She said she knew that when her heart was broken, all she could think of was that she had done the same thing to me and that tortured her. She said she fell apart for almost a year, engaged in very self-destructive behavior, and then went to therapy to figure out why she's so screwed up. She said that was extremely helpful, and several years ago, she finally grew up and now holds herself accountable for her own actions. She ended up moving to the city because she has an aunt she loves who lives here, and after her second divorce before age 30, she needed to make big changes in her life. The changes were noticeable. She's definitely more mature. I had to go and get ready for the evening with friends, so we said our goodbyes, we exchanged contact info, and agreed to have coffee and talk more. We have been doing that. We're both single. I guess there's no harm. I can tell she wants more from me. She wants me to want her back. She drops hints as big as the Pacific Ocean. I'm not dumb. I have to admit, she still has that certain something that just makes my heart skip a beat. Something I can't describe. Something I haven't found in anyone else since her. I guess it's chemistry between us. To be honest, I want to be more than friends. I want to hold her and kiss her. She wants that too, but as of yet, I've made 0 moves. What holds me back? Fear. I'm afraid of getting hurt again. If she had been a casual girlfriend who dumped me, I would have shaken it off and moved on quickly. She wasn't though. She was my wife and the love of my life. I used to dream of her somehow coming back into my life. Well, here it is, and I'm scared shitless. I don't know if I can give her that much of myself again. I'm way more protective of my heart now. We've both grown a lot, and the past seems like 100 years ago. If she weren't who she is, I'd already be head over heels in love. I struggle with whether I should pursue love with her again or leave the past in the past. It sounds cliche, but it just had to be her. Of all the people I could have met here, it had to be her. In an update made 10 months later, OP said, "I've gotten so many requests for an update. I have one, but I was hesitant to post because in this sub, I'd probably take a lot of grief." The update is that we got remarried over the Christmas holidays and we're now expecting a baby. She has grown a lot as a person, and so have I. We're not kids anymore. We're in an adult relationship, and it's much better than before. Throw in the chemistry we've always had, and it's wonderful. I couldn't be happier. I do want to address the accusations that she tracked me down. She didn't. She had moved to our current city before I did. She really had moved on, went to therapy, and had grown a lot as a person. I just happened to be in that diner. We think it had to be fate or some type of intervening force. Neither of us is religious, but the astronomical odds of us running into each other, both single and in a city neither of us had ever lived in, are hard to ignore. Obviously, the universe had a plan for us. I wish all of you good luck. My only advice is don't close your heart. You never know who will stroll into your life. User Fries with a shake booty said, I could never be secure with someone who cheated on me. All the trust would be gone. I wonder how OP is. Did his wife learn to be better? It is absolute foolishness that they remarried so quickly. Another user named Chivroy Stan said, 10 months in, pregnant and married, talk about rushing things. I never understand people who go back to cheaters. This final story was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Pink Dress. The post is titled, My husband and I conceived after divorce, conflicted and heartbroken. This is long. I'm sorry, I've sort of written a novel here. I wanted to post this in a relationship advice group, but the subject matter isn't allowed. My ex-husband and I were married for 10 years, although the last 2 were spent in various stages of separation. We've been divorced for roughly a year. We have 3 kids, 10, 8, and 5. I'm pregnant with our 4th baby. I don't know if we'll actually be parents to 4 kids or not. I'm so conflicted. We are so conflicted. There was no abuse or cheating in our marriage, although he did sleep with somebody else during our separation. There are a variety of other reasons why we ultimately got divorced. After the initial feelings of failure and heartache, and there was an immense amount of heartache on my end, despite being the one who filed for divorce, we were able to get along pretty well. It became platonic so quickly, and it's like when we removed the romantic and married relationship from the equation, things got so much better. We split time with our kids 50-50. That's really hard for me because being a mom is such a huge part of my identity that I still sometimes struggle to know what to do with myself during his time with the kids. Ultimately, I'm happy that he's a loving, involved father, and I'm glad that they do spend half their time with him, even if I still sometimes cry over not being with them all the time. We still do things together as a family sometimes. We sit together at our kids' activities, things like that. He has a girlfriend now. She seems nice. He met her not long after our divorce was finalized. It hurt. I cried way too much over it. He waited over 6 months to introduce her to our kids, which I was thankful for. My kids like her. Our youngest child was unexpectedly admitted to the hospital not long ago. He had surgery. In the grand scheme of things, it was a pretty minor surgery and he's absolutely fine now, but this is my baby and he had to spend multiple nights in the hospital, so this was a big deal for me. My ex-husband was there the entire time, being a great dad and a supportive partner to me as I worried over every little thing. We spent all those nights in the hospital together, and I remembered why I married him. He was always able to be the strong, level-headed rock for me. He was this safe person who I knew would take care of everything and protect me. When we were in the hospital, he told me that I'm the most important woman in his life. Still. When our son was discharged, my ex-husband came back to my house. My baby was home safe. Our other 2 children were excited to be home after staying with my husband's sister for several nights, and we were all together at home like a family again. That night, after our kids were in bed, we had sex. I hadn't been hoping for it or planning it. It was just like, as soon as the kids were tucked away in their rooms, we were having this intensely passionate, needy, amazing sex that we shouldn't have been having. We went to sleep in my bed, and at some point in the middle of the night, we had sex again. The next morning, we both decided our emotions with the whole situation with our son just got the better of us. We said we didn't regret sleeping together, but that's all it was, and we were just going to go back to our normal divorced lives. We wouldn't make it awkward, just move on. Then I found out I was pregnant. We didn't use a condom. I don't even have condoms in my house anymore. I'm not on birth control. I haven't been since we divorced. I haven't needed it since I haven't had the time or interest to start dating again. I really wanted to be single for a while. I know I was ovulating when we slept together, which was probably a contributing subconscious factor as to why it happened. My body sees him being a good dad to our kids and it wants another. My cycle is like clockwork, and we've always conceived on the first try every time we've tried to get pregnant. Our first kid wasn't even a try. It was a 2 weeks before your wedding you find out you're pregnant and spend your honeymoon with morning sickness surprise. So now I'm about 8 weeks pregnant. I've known for about a week. I just told him this past weekend. I didn't know if I would tell him at all. I realize now that I only told him in hopes that he'd tell me what to do and figure the situation out for me. Only he didn't. I know it makes no sense to have a baby with somebody I chose to divorce. I don't need a fourth child. Why can't I let go of this though? In an update, OP said the following. I posted about a week ago. My ex-husband and I have been divorced for about a year. We have 3 kids ranging from 10 to 5 years old. We have gotten along great since the divorce, better than when we were married. It's almost like we're friends, able to do things with our kids and enjoy being around each other. About 2 months ago, our youngest unexpectedly had surgery and spent several nights in the hospital. He's fine now. My ex-husband and I stayed together with our son the entire time he was in the hospital. When he was discharged, my ex-husband came back to my house, our former family home, at our son's request. He was just supposed to spend a few hours there, help our son get settled, then go home. However, I guess all of the emotions and being together as a family in our former shared home got the better of us, and we ended up having sex twice that night. Now I'm 9 weeks pregnant. I wasn't on birth control. I was on it until after our divorce was finalized, but I have been intentionally remaining single for a while and not involved with men in any way. So I was giving my body a break from birth control. Initially, we were undecided about what to do, but as of last weekend, we made the decision together to have the baby. It feels sort of crazy to me. Definitely not a situation I ever imagined I'd find myself in. I already picture this baby looking just like our other kids. I guess that's why I struggled with the idea of not continuing with the pregnancy, which I know isn't really a valid reason to have a baby. This is probably the last baby I'll ever have. I'm 39, so even if I were to meet a man whom I trusted enough to want to have a child and a future with, I'd be well into my 40s by then. I plan to be very picky, but I'm not even at the point of wanting to find somebody new yet. We're not getting back together for now. We get along great when we're not married and living in the same house. We feel it would be irresponsible to all of our children to attempt to get back together right now because of this. Chances are higher that we'll be able to co-parent this baby successfully if we live separately. However, we are committed to working together to do what has to be done to take care of the baby when he or she gets here. Our kids are doing so great right now, and they seem very happy and secure with the current setup of our lives and homes. So we want to stick with this for now. I don't know if I really understand what I'm getting myself into. Our other kids were all born into a marriage and a 2-parent home. I know that sharing custody of a baby will be a lot different than the kids going back and forth between homes. I might be feeling too positive about it, but I think it could work out fine. The new baby will just see this as normal, right? The next thing to worry about will be having to explain this to everyone when we tell them. My family and friends will get over it, but I'm especially concerned about explaining it to our kids. I'm worried our oldest won't take the news well. She also knows what sex is and how babies are made. And for everyone concerned about his girlfriend, she's not his girlfriend anymore. A deleted user said, "Am I the only one thinking this is going to be utterly confusing for the children? Mommy and daddy aren't together anymore, but they're having another baby anyway." In response, user Sleepy Dormouse said, "They're going to get back together. Like someone said on here, OP thinks her ex is a toy she can drop and pick back up. Now that there's another baby on the way, it won't be long before she picks him back up. It really seems like she is someone with main character syndrome who thinks only her wants matter." Another user named Mom of Everyone said, "So we are waiting for the update that everything's a shit show, right?" To this, user Park Jungink said no. She has seen everyone saying it's going to be a shit show, so she'll only update us if everything works out so we can all be wrong. However, in the world of Reddit, I would like the next update to be that the girlfriend is pregnant as well.